and this year's best and worst status from gun owners. What do you think? Did California move up, down, or stay the same?
But first, maybe you've heard of Mike Lindell and MyPillow. Well, his company was banned because he stands against the cancel culture mob. Well, our freedom of speech is just as important as our freedom of self-defense. We are thrilled to support an American company like MyPillow. Go to MyPillow.com and use the promo code FREEMARKET3. You'll get up to 66% off America's best pillows. Get a great night's sleep and enjoy the satisfaction of supporting companies fighting against cancel culture. That's MyPillow.com using promo code FREEMARKET3. All right, Joe, what do you got for us?
What I got is the best and worst states for gun owners. But that's interesting, though. I didn't know Mike Lindell got canceled by cancel culture, and They say cancel culture doesn't exist. So,
oh, that's right. How does that
So
work?
he must not be canceled, really. So, I was looking. Guns and Ammo magazine does a little thing every year where they go through and they rate the different states in terms of how they are for gun owners, which states are the best for gun owners, and then all the way down to California and the others.
I didn't know they do that every year.
Yeah, it's an annual thing. So, which makes it every year.
That would be it.
So, I was reading it, and I thought, this will be a good one to just kind of write about and bring it up, just to show people that don't have access at the moment to Guns and Ammo magazine. So it's interesting if, people like us that are immersed in this stuff, I mean, the results aren't real surprising. You could probably guess, the top 5 and the bottom 5.
Yeah, we're in the top 5.
But, it depends on how you look at it, right? It's perspective.
You're standing on your head.
So, I thought I'd just bring it up and talk about it for a little bit. And, the country's not in bad shape in terms of Second Amendment. I mean, part of it, we live out here, as John Dillon says, we've been institutionalized, right? So we've been abused for so long that, everything's terrible. And, we have kind of a skewed view, and then you put the media on top of that and the extremists that are in charge at the moment. And it seems like things are bad, but when you actually take a look at things are not really that bad around the country. There's pockets, but, most of the states are pretty reasonable. And what Guns and Ammo does, or Guns and Ammo magazine does, they go through and they rate the states, and they look at 5 different categories. And then they give states, you can score from 1 to 10 points, depending on how you are in each of the categories. And so, you've got 50 points total. And Wyoming, and there was a number of them, actually, I think, that were tied. But Wyoming is number 1, and, with all 50 points. And so the top 5 good states, not surprisingly, are Wyoming, Idaho, Montana, Utah, and then Arizona. And, they go through and look at these different categories. And the 5 categories they look at right to carry. So they evaluate the state in terms of do they issue concealed carry? How difficult is it to get a concealed carry? What's the cost to get a concealed carry permit? How
long does it take?
How long? Well, yeah, I didn't see how long, but I'm guessing they're looking at that too. It should be if it's not. Yeah. Maybe they're listening. And, the cost, the training required, and all that. So they rate states on that. The second area is black rifles. And do they have restrictions on rifles?
Explain a black rifle for maybe people that don't know.
So for the most part, black rifles are going to be AR-style rifles, things like that, the so-called assault weapon. And they rate states on, do the states restrict firearms based on appearance? Because that's really what it is. It's not based on functionality. Right. So do they restrict firearms based on things like a collapsible stock, or do they limit the magazine capacity and that kind of stuff? So that falls under the black rifle category. Then they look at the National Firearms Act, the National Firearms Act from 1934, I think it is. The thing, that's the federal law that regulates machine guns, short-barreled rifles, short-barreled shotguns, suppressors, things like that. So they look at that and say, okay, does the state put any further restrictions on the restrictions that are already there from the federal government? So they rate them on that. They look at castle doctrine. So does the state have those kinds of laws? Do they have a duty to retreat law? Also, within that, they look at does the state provide protection if you're involved in a defensive incident, a self-defense incident? are you protected from civil liability if they decide that, okay, no crime was committed there? Because some states do that. A lot of states do that. A lot of states don't. And then, or actually, I should say a lot of states do that. Some states don't. And then there's a miscellaneous category for things like the overall gun friendliness and the culture, preemption statutes. So are localities able to write laws that contradict the state's laws, things like that? So different states handle those kinds of things differently. They look at the availability of shooting ranges, competitive shooting opportunities, so those sorts of things. So they go through and rate things like that. So we mentioned the top 5 that were there. If you look at the bottom 5, anybody want to guess what the bottom state is?
California.
Oh, so close.
Massachusetts?
No, actually. No.
Oh my gosh.
But you're all in that you're in the bottom 5.
Illinois.
So all the way at the bottom is the state from our second favorite governor, or former governor, I guess, New York.
Oh,
is
it's like I'm not even.
Yeah, why wouldn't you have thought that?
It's like I'm not even trying here, Dave.
Well, you're not related to Sam the Gunman, that's for sure.
Sam would have. Well, yeah, no, Sam might have known this.
Let's ask him that.
But well, it's interesting because my guess would have been Hawaii, because again, Hawaii, from what I hear, is just terrible. Nobody's got a gun. They don't issue. They have all sorts of bad things in Hawaii. But New York was the worst. Then Hawaii. Then Massachusetts. And then my home state of New Jersey, and then California was number 47. And it was interesting too. I was looking at the just the scoring because, like I said, Wyoming was number 1. That was the best place to be, and that scored all 50 points. Mm-hmm. Any guess with California what they scored in total points?
Where was New York?
New York was number 51 because they count D.C. So New York was the worst. California was number 47.
And out of, I don't know.
So, and Wyoming was number 1 at 50 points.
Yeah.
So California scored a whopping 10 points.
10?
Yeah.
How did we get
10.
that high?
And there were some below us, obviously. But I think we scored, what did we score in? Because we got some points in something, and it was like the miscellaneous section or something like that. But just a handful of points, though. We never really, I don't think we scored above 6 in anything, and we got several zeros. So that's what you would expect. And, it's interesting.
Well, the left would like those numbers.
Yeah. But again, if you look at they started doing this in 2013. And for instance, in 2013, there were 3 states that were what we call constitutional carry now that allow people to carry without a permit. And now, just 8 years later, there's 21 states that do that. So things have changed quite a bit. We're over 20 million permitted concealed carriers. So, I think the mood of the country generally is pro-Second Amendment. It's moving in that direction.
Well,
it's
being pushed into that.
Well, I think people feel that way. I think what you don't see is, because the media won't report that. We've got a whole political party that's made it their goal, I guess, to disarm Americans in the country. And although they've gotten sidetracked now with this last week's fiasco.
And you're going to talk about that when we come back, if I'm not mistaken.
We should talk about that when we come back, yeah.
Well, it says right here, Joe Germisi.
Does that mean, am I getting was that the hook?
That's the hook. Read your paperwork, son.
Well, before we go, AK's R, who's listening, wants to know what choke I was using when I was talking about my shotgun. He wanted to know what choke I was using. It is it's a 20-inch barrel on a Mossberg 500, and it's got a full choke, not variable. It is a full choke.
That's what I have too.
Thanks for watching this clip from Gun Owners Radio. You can watch us live every Sunday from 4 to 6 p.m. California time, right here on our YouTube channel, or if you're in the San Diego area, you can listen to us on 1170 a.m. We're also available on your favorite podcast platform for free. Don't forget to like and subscribe so that you can help restore and protect the Second Amendment, not just in California, but across the country.